Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, right? December 11th. Time is flying. Magooch, good morning, sir. Hope all is well. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I seen a thumbnail for adding like 200 fish to the backyard pond. I'm going to check that out a little bit later. Don Miku, good morning. How are you, sir? We got major flooding here in Washington State right now. It's just insane. Luckily, it stopped raining right now because I'm convinced that it's the government. Big surprise. They call it an atmospheric river. We've already had 2 of them. And I mean, all the rivers are record high, cresting, taking trees out, just fucking full on trees and logs floating down rivers. Trucks driving through rivers to get home. The fucking meat markets and gas stations are flooded. It's bad. So it's got to be a government land grab. That's what I think. And I really mean that because they always do their little dog whistles. Like they had an evacuation call for a certain area. And in quotations, they put "go now" in capital letters and in quotation marks. The go now evacuation order. And you see that on all the different news outlets. It's like, okay, well, how many people are going to lose their houses and not get them back because of this fucking bullshit? Dying here, 35 degrees Celsius, 50% humidity, and tomorrow is 37. Damn. Well, sorry to hear that, Don. We have the opposite problem here. I know it's snowing over on the East Coast a little bit, and it's pretty mild here, temperature wise right now. It was cold last week. It's just fucking. They said we had 5 trillion gallons of water rain on us in the last 48 hours. Some weird number like that. Let me see if ChatGPT knows. How many gallons of rain has Washington State had in the last 48 hours? Some parts of Washington have seen up to 8 inches of rain in the past 48 hours due to the atmospheric river. That equates to hundreds of millions to potentially trillions of gallons of water over large areas. So I'm always worried about earthquakes when there's that much rain around here because of the subduction zone. That's a lot of water. So I hope it stops raining. I think it's supposed to rain a little bit more, but you never know. Because I have a event tomorrow evening outside. I got an event on Saturday that's inside, but it's right next to a river. And they've already been hemming and hawing about it, little, rustling in the bushes. So hopefully that I can't afford to lose any events right now. I need all my events. Sweet Tea, good morning. I don't know if you guys see my thumbnail, but the Osada, you're on mute. Sweet Tea sent me this little tiny, it's a miniature wet floor sign on one side it says, Osada, you're on mute. And on the other side it says, unmute. We want to hear you rant. And it's a little miniature wet floor sign. I'm going to keep it right here on my keyboard to remind me that I possibly could be talking to nobody, which I do quite often. So thank you for that, sweet tea. I really appreciate it. Listening as I'm getting ready for work, right on. 8 inches, Dawn, in the last 48 hours in some parts. 8 inches. I mean, it's just insane. Like I said, it's literally, there's videos of it taking out trees. We have a thing called the Snoqualmie Falls, just absolutely raging. Bridges that are normally like probably 20 feet down to the river are like 4 feet away from the river. That type of shit. It's just crazy town. I actually have some videos of it. I'll show you a couple. Didn't I bookmark them? Here we go. This is how we do it out here in Washington. This guy was headed home. And this is up in This is in Snohomish County, which is up north from me. But this guy's drone, he said his battery was dying right as he started filming this guy. But, this is just from the rivers cresting and, going over the top. It's happening to all the rivers. So it wouldn't take a little too much more right now, or God forbid, something like, there was a lahar from Mount Rainier, some bullshit. It would be absolutely catastrophic. I dig the music, though. So it's wild. See if I can find any more videos. I didn't really bookmark any. That's not this one. Yeah, this one's pretty crazy. This is from Granite Falls, Washington. Yeah, trees like that, houses flooded. We have a lot of rivers in Washington, so it is what it is. Let's see here. Let me get back to my bookmarks. So, there's a huge war brewing between not only Venezuela and the United States, but between Candace Owens and Erica Kirk, the CEO of Turning Point USA. And Lewis County's underwater too. Oh, I bet. Yeah, they called it. I heard them call it the Mango Express, like before it started. I haven't heard them refer to it since then, but it was 2 atmospheric rivers. Wild. I'm over it already. There's going to be a lot of like fallen trees, and it's going to be bad. The next windstorm we have is not going to be good. But yeah, Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA are at war with Candace. Erica Kirk finally decided to go out. She's on her media tour right now. And she finally decided to go to war with Candace over, what Candace is trying to do. Figure out who really did kill Charlie Kirk and not settle for the bullshit narrative that the feds are trying to feed us. So why Erica Kirk isn't, angry at the person who killed her husband, and is they angry at Candace for trying to figure out who did it? It's a good question. And what even is Turning Point USA? I heard somebody mention something that they're Palantir, and I keep hearing about the company Palantir, and I don't even know what Palantir is. So I looked it up this morning, and Palantir is a data analytics and software company that builds platforms used by governments, military, law enforcement, and large corporations to integrate massive amounts of data to make decisions. So then it goes into all this stuff about it's used by the military, intelligence agencies, law enforcement, counterterrorism. And at the end it says, where's it at? Bottom line, Palantir is basically a high-security, military-grade data and AI company that helps governments and big corporations make sense of massive and complex data. And so I heard somebody mention that that's what Turning Point USA is, and it does kind of make sense because that's what they, I've heard them talk about geofencing and. That their geofencing picked up 200,000 people at their event. And very strange what Turning Point USA really is, They claim to have made all this money on T-shirt sales and book sales, tens of millions of dollars. I think they raised like $90 million in the first, I don't know how many hours or days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated. I don't buy it. Yeah, I don't believe it. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys have a Freedom T-shirt. Excuse me. It would take an awful lot of T-shirts to make $90 million, and I just don't buy it. I believe that Turning Point USA is funded by Israel. They're 100%. They're Jewish. I mean, we played Erica Kirk yesterday talking about Shabbot Shalom, rest between Friday evening and Saturday. Excuse me, we party on Friday nights. I mean, that's what we do here. We work hard, and then on Friday nights we go party. We don't rest on Friday night. I mean, if you want to rest, there's no problem with it, but don't put that on us. And, and I heard, I bookmarked it, I think. Stu Peters talking about what that means, that Shabbat Shalom. That's what it means, is rest between Friday and Saturday. But, a deeper meaning behind it, I guess, is that it's for the, I don't know anything about religion, but the Gentiles, basically us, the slaves, to do all the work of these people, including wipe their ass on, between Friday and Saturday night. So I'm like, what the fuck has happened to our country, guys? I mean, we've always had Judaism and all these different religions, but You know, we're a Christian country, and we've been taken over by, you know, they bring all these Muslims in here, but the real threat is not Muslims. The real threat is, this is just my opinion. I mean, everybody has their own opinion. It's this Turning Point USA shoving down our throat, this, like, you know, killing people, blowing their necks off, and pretending to be their wife, and where's your kids at, and you know, the first lady of France has a dick. I mean, things are really getting fucking weird around here, guys. I don't know how else to say it. Including this fucking clown, Nick Fuentes. You know, the dude that looks like a fucking 13-year-old that, oh, he has the balls to say the N-word on the internet. I mean, who gives a fuck? You know, and he talks like this. He's always got something weird to say. You know, everybody has like a gimmick on the internet, you know, when they're when it's their job. They're trying to sell you shit like it's their job. I heard somebody say that a couple days ago, and it's so true. This guy, you know, I'm just going to play the video real quick because I can't even remember exactly what my take is on it. It'll refresh my memory once I play the video. Hold on. Let me read the headline too. Nick Fuentes on Turning Point having a Candace problem. As an objective observer, Turning Point are getting their asses kicked. Yeah, this guy's just playing both sides of the fence.
Look at the crew, and you could just say this objectively. And you know me, I'm anti-Candace at this point. I think she is a horrible, disgusting human being. I think what she is doing is wicked and selfish and reckless, and I think it's setting us back 5 years, and I think she's a complete idiot, and I think she's wrong. That being said,
you think she's a complete idiot? Hold on. That's you stupid, dumb motherfucker. On January 6th on the Capitol steps with a bullhorn in your hand. Okay? You want to talk about being an idiot? Jesus.
I look at the crew and reckless, and I think it's setting us back 5 years, and I think she's a complete idiot, and I think she's wrong. That being said, as an objective outside observer, as somebody that is not directly...
Why do you talk like
Turning
that?
Point is getting their asses kicked. Their performance is poor, and they are losing. And
well, they're probably losing. When you say their performance is poor, it's because they're fucking lying out their teeth. And everybody in there is just like a weirdo, and we don't even know who the fuck they are. And you just came out of nowhere. You literally, you crawled out of the cracks of the steps of the Capitol building on January 6th. And now you're on the internet talking like a weirdo.
And I don't even know that I want them to win, but I definitely think that Candace needs to be taken down a peg. So I say that as somebody that's in a way sort of rooting for them, in at least on some level, rooting for them to defeat some of the allegations. So anyway, so I saw this from Eric.
You're rooting for, in some way, for them to beat some of the allegations. Well, look, Nick, here's the thing. Charlie Kirk was murdered, and there's lies and there's the truth. That's why we have the legal system, right? You know, you put people on trial, you bring witnesses forward, you get all the testimony, all the ballistics, all the evidence, and then you have either the judge or the jury come up with their conclusion. And of course, there's public opinion. But that's not what's going to happen. And so what you're concerned about is
some level rooting for them to defeat some of the allegations. So anyway, so I saw this from Erica Kirk. She comes out crying. And then I see a video from Candace Owens. She jumps on Instagram and she films her big, fat, stupid black head And she goes, yeah, it's about me. They didn't say it's about me, but it's about me. It's about me. And I don't know how you look at this person and are not filled with disgust, especially as a man. If you're a woman, I get it. I think that women are easily manipulated. And I think that women tend to be suckers for things like this. I don't understand how any man could look at that.
Well, who is giving us advice, Nick? You know, you with your haircut, you're a man. You with your little 3 fingers up in the air and your skinny little neck and your high-pitched little weird voice. You're a man telling us how to be a man.
Instagram video she posted.
Watching, you're trolling, you're following Candace on Instagram. That's what a man does. Is follow. I've never watched one I do have Instagram. And we could pull up my Instagram and see how active I'm on Instagram. I literally never go to Instagram. The only reason that Instagram is even involved in my life is because when I post my products on Facebook, it double posts to Instagram. You have like an option, like on your story or whatever. That's it. I don't search Instagram for anything, but apparently Nick does. What else do you look at on Instagram, Nick? Guys working out? Is that why you went on Bradley Martin? This is him on Bradley Martin wearing see how you dressed in front of this guy. This guy's, like a big muscle bodybuilder type of dude.
Started this.
Right.
I would agree in some cases that he was the most prominent figure today that is speaking about that is relating to that, in her relationship to trying to make it about Israel, whatever. Those are just to be determined. Right.
Right.
But yeah, she also called you an ingrate. That
she
was
did.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know so these guys are close friends, I guess. This is a different time. He was on.
Standing that whole group of people has sort of aged out of the equation. Not that they're not relevant people anymore, the older population, and it kind of pure if he to degree. I guess my question and all that is like,
but here we go.
I think of myself as like a brain in a vat. Like I'm an interior.
Dude, you're fucking. Sorry, go ahead.
I exist in here, in the realm of the mind. I'm an interior person.
Yeah.
Really, I like to think of myself as like a brain in a vat. Like I'm
yeah. That's this guy that they put in front of us for whatever reason. I just wanted to spend a little bit of time on him because I think he's a troll. He's just a fraud, and his opinion means nothing. He's literally just a gaslighter, so everybody can formulate their own opinion. That's my opinion. I don't think he should be listened to at all. And he has zero credibility with me. None. I think he is in the closet, which is fine. You can be in the closet all you want. But I think he's it's beyond that. It's not that he just likes men, that there's probably some really weird shit attached to that. I don't know exactly what it is, but I would never take anything that guy says with any type of, credence. Nothing. Godfather Sports, hello, good to see you. Talking like a weirdo, laugh. There it is, the Osada comment that made me laugh. Right on, Sweet Tea. I'm glad I made you laugh. How does Nick Winters get away with what he says? Yeah, calling, does a man say, oh, look at Candace Owens with her stupid, big, fat, black head? What? Who would say something like that? A jealous woman. A jealous woman that wanted to get as many views with her looks or something. That's the only thing that I can think of. And even then, you don't hear even a woman saying that. It's very strange that these guys like Tim Pool and Nick Fuentes are attacking. You don't hear one real man attacking Candace Owens. Now, they may not agree with what she's saying, because they don't really have, you know, and they may not even be speaking on it because they don't know what's going on. They don't understand, you know. It's like trying to buy Bitcoin. If you don't understand the process to it, you know, if you don't understand all the facts of why people are upset about it, you know, for example, the 30-06 scenario, or the fact that Mikey McCoy, you know, his dad, Rob McCoy, said that his son was bleeding, had blood all over him when he called, you know, 2 seconds after Charlie was shot to say, please call every pastor you know, Dad, and have him pray for you, pray for Charlie, right? And then they don't talk again for 30 days. The dad goes around spreading lies about the son being covered in blood. And they don't actually talk, the son and the dad, for 30 days. Although 2 seconds, literally less than 2 seconds after Charlie's shot, that dude's calling this dad saying, Dad, Charlie's shot. Please call every pastor you know and have them pray. What? First of all, that's fucking bullshit. And then the dad goes on and, you know, in one of his little sermons and tells the story about how his son called and said he wanted me to call every pastor I know to pray, and he's covered in blood and he has his wits about him and he's just directing everybody to, you know, he's just a master. Wonderful Mikey McCoy. Come to find out that's all bullshit. And then Mikey goes on the Turning Point thing and says, yeah, he called his dad. He's like, Dad, did you really say that? And his dad, and he goes, you know, so come to find out my dad had to live with these nightmares for over a month thinking that his son was covered in blood. Bitch, please. How stupid do you fucking think we are, man? And I mean, I know I'm just kind of ranting about that stuff. Daniel Berry, good morning. Happy Thursday. How are black people not attacking Nick, or do they just not care about him? Well, I don't think they really care about him. The thing is that what they're, you know, some of these new tactics that they use is, you know, somebody like Nick, somebody like Tim Pool. There's just so many of these, just call them YouTubers, influencers, whatever. They'll say a lot of things that make sense, a lot of things that'll get you listening to them, and then they pivot. Then they, you know, it's like they'll give you a lot of, they just like get you hooked on a lot. You're like, oh, I like where this guy is going with a lot of his thoughts, you know, or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But the real important issues, then they just hit you with it. And it's like, you know, because he went on Steven Crowder. We all know that this is why he got on my radar, you know, because I had seen Nick Fuentes. I even played some of his videos in the past. But where I finally called him out is for two things. Is because he's on the Capitol steps. So, you know, he's got to be a plant or fed or something. No real human being goes on the Capitol steps on January 6th with the bullhorn. You know what I mean? That does not happen in real life. The person with the bullhorn worked for the government. That's just a fact. I mean, and I'm not saying that everybody has to realize that, but I'm just going to state that as fact. That is fact. You're not going to be the one leading the charge on the Capitol building with the bullhorn unless you are part of that agenda that they had already planned anyways. Not a great son if he isn't listening to his father's sermons, right? He definitely is a plant, right, Godfather? You already know. Joe Della, good morning. And he believes the official narrative that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and so, you know, with the 30-06. And why these people are not questioning, they have a problem with us questioning this, why they don't want to question it, is beyond suspicious. And we all know this. CG2, good morning. Good to see you. So, you know, and we've talked about this, you know, at length, ad nauseum, beating a dead horse. It is what it is. I'll move on, but we're going to circle back to that, of course, because it is the hot topic. But I just have a different video here real quick. You know, Katie Wilson, I think they measured her forehead the other day. It's like 7 feet in circumference, bigger than in any alien. The communist Marxist mayor that now is, I don't know if she's actually the mayor of Seattle yet. I think it takes, you know, it's kind of like the presidency. I think it's in January. But our drug problem in Seattle and in north of Seattle, west of Seattle, excuse me, east of Seattle, Bellevue, it's out of control. It's to the point where they got vigilantes now hanging out at the grocery store, which ain't going to end well. You know, it is not going to end well. You know, the police know exactly what they're doing. They don't have a problem. They're not dumb. They purposely don't police the cities. It's debatable why. You can blame the politicians. We can go around in a big circle jerk about that debate. It's just, that's old, speaking of beating a dead horse. But it's a fact. They know how to police the cities. They're just not doing it. It is what it is. You could say it's because they don't have enough officers, because of this, that, your sister's ass. We know. We get it. It just is what it is. But what we don't need are, and I appreciate the sentiment of citizens doing that. You can't do that. You cannot be a vigilante and be your own personal, you know, police a grocery store. It's not going to end well, but that's what they're doing. So we'll see how it all plays out. Tommy, good morning. Good to see you. I will make a warm-up question for my students today about circumference of her head. Yes, the Katie Wilson question. And I do have, I think I do have a video of her today. So, but anyway, let me just play this. This isn't related to that. This is just, I think, talking about the drugs in Seattle.
I mean, this is the most beautiful view in our city.
Well, that's why so many people come to this park. But it's now full of trash, and
it has been fenced off. It was cleared yesterday. It's a safety hazard. It's got compromised roof. My guess is they're going to bulldoze it down and just remove it because there's no way you're going to repair it as is. You can see everybody's going down into the bowels of our park. There's a big drug dealer down here. Everybody knows it. Seattle Police Department basically told me they've made multiple arrests, but everybody knows to carry just amount of dope that they don't get in trouble, and because they're addicted, they get a more lenient penalty. So
all right, let's see where this is all headed. What's up, man? Yo, good?
there's so much drug activity going on here, but
We got to take a walk down that road.
that's right. It's like ants. There are hundreds of people down here coming up because that's where the deal
You
is.
guys are now replacing another bench that's been burned down.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
they're just rebuilding things that are just being damaged or destroyed.
And there's just no end. Like, we're literally fixing a fenced up park that's being currently at the same exact time destroyed by drug addicts.
I think it's also important to take time to walk the talk.
AP Diaz, come out and walk with us. Our groups here are devastated by having inequitable access to our children's park, our community park.
Has AP ever come out with you guys?
No.
Have you invited AP?
I have emailed him. I gave up on him like 2 years ago. We said, forget it. I get it. We go where they can't go. We go on slopes. We go within 20 feet of a tent. We go where the drugs are. They avoid where the problem is. We have to get better voter turnout. We have to demand better from our leaders. And the way you do that is change the way you vote. I would be steering legislation that has very high penalties for narcotic use in playgrounds, in off-leash dog park. Until we do that, we're never going to get hold of the top.
You know, the problem is that it's not about voting. Voting is not going to change anything. You know, these people, you know, how we heard the stories about how immigrants were being flown in and bussed in, you know, into all the cities and stuff in America. They're doing the same thing with this. They've been doing it since like 2015 and even maybe a little bit before that. You know, they used to do things, and they probably still do, where like if you would go to court, you know, and you got busted for drugs, they would tell you to get out of the city. They would, you know, they would even like facilitate you a bus ticket and tell you to leave. It's either leave or go to jail. So they started pushing people out of certain cities, but now they just bring them in. They bring these people in. You know, whoever is facilitating the fentanyl in the United States, we know it ain't somebody with a fucking shopping cart that's selling all the fentanyl across the country. We know that. You know, it's absolutely the government and the banks are involved. There's been hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars made off fentanyl. So there's banks involved, the government's involved, everybody's involved. Everybody knows where the fentanyl is coming from, except us. You know, do we need 13 precursors from China plus fucking little druggies, narco boats from Venezuela to pull this off? Is that what it is? Is that how we get all the fentanyl into the United States? Okay, sure. You know, it's not coming in on military planes. It's not coming in on Chinese shipping containers. Of course not. Why would it? They've never done that before. Or they're not making it underground, the same place that they print the money in the United States, in underground bunkers. They're not doing that, right? It is absolutely essential that you need the 13 precursors from China and little tiny narco boats from Venezuela to somehow drug mule packs of fentanyl up through Mexico into the United States through border towns. And come on, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Okay, Erica Kirk. Hold on. Where's Katie Wilson at? Well, this is hold on. Let's kind of, do I have any more? So this is Bellevue, Washington. And this is the guy wants to be the vigilante.
Me and my buddy.
Yeah.
We stop people here, stealing, and the cops in Bellevue trespass one of my buddy because they call him vigilante.
He was trying to stop a thief, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's messed up.
And then here, now it's getting bad because people are stealing like crazy. It's every night people are pushing out carts full of shit and then push it down in 12 and Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
And because they take the bus.
Yeah. We follow them.
And so the guy behind the camera, Jonathan Cho, he's always reporting about this stuff. And so here he is trying to talk to the mayor of that town.
So
I got to get on a call. I actually had to leave this early.
so many 911. Have any regrets allowing it in?
I have to get on a call. I cannot talk to you.
Can I talk to you, City Hall, then?
I will never talk to you.
Why?
You're awful.
Why am I awful? I just ask questions.
Hateful person.
How am I hateful when I just report facts?
You don't report facts.
I have all the 911 calls.
Lies.
What are the
And
lies?
you make your own conclusions based on them, and they're hateful.
Really? Can you tell me what exactly? Maybe I need to correct
I
something.
need to get on this call.
All right. I'll let you go, Mayor. Take care.
So that's the attitude and the arrogance and the just complete, I don't even know the words for it. They just work for an agenda. That lady has a finger up her butt. She just works for absolute disgusting, though, what they've done to Washington State. But of course, this isn't the only state. Every state's like this on the coastline, from New York to New Jersey. Well, maybe it's not all the. I guess Florida's good, but California, Washington, Oregon, the entire West Coast. I'm sure there's other states besides New York and New Jersey that are shitholes over there too. Probably like Massachusetts, but then you have like Michigan's really bad. That's where you got to pray 5 times a day. She just made up her own conclusions, right, Joe? I mean, it's just so irritating to listen to those people. But that's just, what it is over here. So let me get back to, okay, so now we have Erica Kirk. She is going on a media tour. This is kind of a little bit of a long video, but we're just going to kind of play it real quick. And then Now remember, her husband was killed. We have seen her shed 0 tears, although wipe her face 1,000,000 times. There's 1,000 lies surrounding the murder of her husband, and yet she wants to attack Candace Owens for trying to discover the truth and not trying to dig at this bullshit narrative. I mean, and the other thing too that I noticed too is that Turning Point USA is all white people. And there's no black people in Turning Point USA. And I find that kind of odd. And, you know, I've seen Erica Kirk talk to people like Sean Hannity, and she's holding the back of JD Vance's head, and the way she talks with Barry Weiss. I have a video of that. Now she's talking with this lady, and it's just interesting the way that her tone, you know, her and the lady from Fox News are on the same team. It's just very interesting. I think these people come from a very, very racist place. And I'm not just talking about white on black. I'm talking about that Shabbat Shalom where, you know, they want, because these people don't consider themselves white. They're a superior race. The Jewish Zionist, whatever this is, they consider themselves superior to white people. So, and the way she talks to this lady is very interesting.
From the perspective of a grieving widow, a mom, and a battle-tested American. Good to see you again today. Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museums for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying?
Hold on, guys. She needs one moment. Stephen Morinello, good morning. Good to see you. She needs one moment where she can lay her husband to rest. Yes, hold on. We'll give you one moment.
I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you. God bless you.
Here's your moment, Erica. Here is you molesting a mannequin with your big Freemason rings on, your Masonic rings, your G. You know, the Freemasons, it's the G and the compass, right? Those are Masonic rings. She openly displays her rings. And yeah, this is her filming her touching her dead husband's hands, allegedly. Those are mannequin hands, obviously. And who does that? She needs a moment. Can she have one moment of rest, people? You know, and we're talking, what is today? December 11th. So we're literally 3 months and 1 day removed from Charlie's assassination, from his cold-blooded murder in public. And this was like the day after he was killed. And then they took JD Vance and his wife and Erica Kirk took the body on a plane, like on day 2. They flew the plane around. So this is your moment, lady. Who would film this? And that's not a real person. That is a mannequin. Anyway, I mean, this is kind of sick shit, and I realize that, but I call balls and strikes, guys. I know bullshit when I see it, and this lady is the devil. She is literally the devil. And so we'll get back to it.
Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing?
You want one thing? How about the book you're holding that you're trying to sell? Now you're trying to sell a book that allegedly Charlie wrote, right? You're trying to sell a book. How about that can be your one thing?
Can my children have one thing? Everything was public.
Yeah, including his.
We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that. But this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
What are they taking from you right now?
But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that.
Real quick, I just wanted to say, can anybody name one law enforcement official in the United States that you trust, that you would want to take a lead to? Is there one? Do you want to go to Cash Patel or Dan Bongino or Pam Bondi or? There's no one. There is no one. The feds cannot. I mean, we don't even need to go there. That's just comical. And there's a lot of weird things about this lady. Her family, her mom is DOD, Department of Defense, high-level Department of Defense. Her dad literally wrote a book about how to integrate the military into your corporations. And her herself, Miss Arizona 2012, country music video. Zip lining past the number 910 the day that Charlie was assassinated on the Bachelorette or The Bachelor, one of those shows. And she already forgave the shooter, even though we know that wasn't the guy who did it. I mean, I mean, we don't know who did it. We know that it wasn't a 30-06. We know that Mikey McCoy calls his dad 2 seconds after the bullet penetrates the neck and then doesn't talk to his dad for over a month later, allegedly. Yeah, exactly. No one does that. It's absolutely creepy. Yep, she was on that show. Here, we'll take a break. Where are we at? 2:49 in here. Let's see here.
Jordan's probably a virgin, so I'm setting Jordan up with my friend Erica. She's beautiful, and she happens to be religious. Oh, there they are. Jordan, if you don't take this to the next level, God help you.
Yeah, you know, if the volume's hard to hear, but I watched it on a different one, and those guys to me are obviously gay. Think they have sex with each other, yet they're pretending to be on dates with these women. One of them being Erica, right? And obviously her name is not Erica Kirk here; it's something else before Charlie. But
Okay, that's good. Beautiful blonde hair, her smile, her radiance.
so we have Erica there; she's on that show. Then we also have Erica as Miss Arizona, where she already knows she's going to win.
Erica Franzway.
Erica Franzway Kirk, Miss Arizona.
Forward. The next name I will read is the first runner-up. The first runner-up is a very important event that the winner cannot fulfill her duties, including winning Miss USA. The first runner-up will take over. The first runner-up. Scottsdale, Caitlin Willenchip. That means your new Miss Arizona USA 2012 is Erica Franzway.
Wow, just an amazing woman. I mean, she is just, wow. Then she's also in a country music video. Is this it here? No.
Erica and Tyler are ziplining tonight, all for the benefit of the music video for My Kind of Crazy, because Erica is that kind of crazy, and she is perfect for the role.
I've never done this before, and I'm deathly afraid of heights.
You are?
Awkwardly, deathly mortified, afraid of heights. But
It's okay, it's fun.
We'll see what happens.
It's a lot of fun.
They told me they only go 20 miles an hour.
We'll see, though.
But that does not include looking down. I'll survive, I promise you. I don't know what facial expressions I'll have.
Just don't let go, or else you'll fall.
I'm not allowed to let go, so I can only kick my feet and scream.
High five.
No. Okay, high five. I don't want to. Oh, wow. That's a long ways down.
If you let go, it's going to
Don't ever let go.
Don't ever let go.
Don't ever.
Oh, look at them go.
Oh, man.
Why is the larger ones go faster than the skinnier ones?
I don't know. All right, we're about to go.
No.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
Uh-oh. All right, baby, you ready?
Now she's going to zip line past the number 910, which is the date that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Which, and you know how they always put things in The Simpsons and stuff like that. This is no different. Absolutely no different.
She
Got a butterfly tat on the back of a you-know-where. Hates the way it drives, but loves the way it parks by the river. Ever out of town drum, she plays me. She's my kind of crazy, my kind of.
You ain't lying, you're fucking crazy.
Rolling down the back with her hair in the wind in her like she's flying.
There you have it. There she's at 9:10 right there. They tell you ahead of time what's going to happen or when, and 9:10 was the date that he was killed. Read into that what you will. It's just a coincidence that these people are so incredible and amazing, and they're everywhere. But this is why I quit watching TV a long time ago, because when I say that the government controls everything, they absolutely do. These people that are on these shows and stuff like that, these shows are all ran by the intelligence agencies. It's just to steer public opinion, shift public opinion, steer the narrative. If they want everybody to be gay, that's what they're going to put out there. Like if they want you to question your sanity and your sexuality, they'll put a bachelorette show out there where obviously the two guys are gay, which is fine, be gay. But don't pretend that you're dating women, and the only people that aren't in on the joke is the audience. So that's why I checked out of that. MK Ultra plant, 100%. I mean, her, again, it's documented. It's not conspiracy theory of who her parents are. They are high-grade military intelligence people. Absolutely 100%. Fact. I think she has 2 kids with Charlie, allegedly, although that's a whole nother thing. And she admits that, she says it on here. She's like, you can go down the rabbit hole about me all you want, but don't attack my Turning Point USA family. It's all very strange, guys. I mean, does that mean anything? No, it doesn't. None of this means anything. However, this is just one little piece to this puzzle of all of this. We didn't talk about the Egyptian planes or the fact that 30-06 doesn't do that, or, the list goes on and on and on and on and on. But some reality shows are so baffled that are good. I'm not sure. It's not registering with me, but some reality shows are too baffled, maybe, that are good. I'm not sure. Yeah, it means it's all bullshit, right? 100%, Magooch. You already know. And just the fact that can anybody even wrap their head around how many times the Simpsons have? Oh, it's so bad. But some reality shows are so baffled that are so. I wish they could crack this case, but I don't think so. No, because we're never. It's not about we can't crack it because the people that would crack it are. They're the liars. They're the ones behind it, right? Let's finish the Erica Kirk thing. I want to play Tucker Carlson, his take. Tucker's remained silent about it, but he finally speaks out about it. And we need people like Tucker. Candace can only do so much. We need Tucker. We just need somebody to be on our side. Regardless of how you feel about Tucker.
She's my kind, but I march along the way.
So, yeah, you're our kind of crazy, all right, Erica. Sure are. So we were at like 2 minutes and something.
Ian picks myself for my family more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. I have, you name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
You know, the conspiracies that are out there, all of the like, do you think that there is more of it now because you do shine your light? I mean, did people just expect you would just go away?
I don't know what they expected. I don't know what they expected.
They pick on you because of your accessories. I mean, I've seen some of it.
Oh, yeah. No, at this point, it's what the conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas. Like, seriously, wow. You will, if you want to find and pick me apart, go right ahead. I do not care. I don't. This was happening before Charlie was murdered. Both of us have been through the ringer of people will call you whatever they want to call you.
No, I don't recall that, Erica. In fact, I didn't know you existed. I had no idea that Charlie Kirk had a wife. I didn't even watch his videos. I did not know you existed. I didn't know you were on The Bachelorette or you were Miss Arizona. I had no idea about any of that. Not until you went on your little tour, and you chose to put on social media you kissing mannequin hands. You know, that's what kind of started it for me. You know, I'm sorry. You should not post mannequin hands and put it on social media. It's just not, it's not smart. We're not stupid. They don't need to crack the case because they already know who did it. 100%. Her team, yeah, her hit team, right? Neither did I until you just showed it outside. Yeah, none of it. You know, this is like literally, this is why I know this is like a psyop, because you will question your own sanity. And at some, you know, a lot of this is really just like beyond what we can even take in, what we can believe. You know, like the truth about what just happened, it's unbelievable. Like literally, like I think that they pulled the wool over our eyes on a few things that will just make you sound crazy. For example, I literally think that they somehow edited the video. And I told that story before. It will make you go crazy. This is you know, they keep upping the bar. We thought COVID was bad. This is, you know, and Turning Point USA is that you got like 4,000 churches involved, and they've got hundreds of millions of dollars. And now whatever they say, they're trying to make like, you know, like they have like all this political influence and religious influence. And honestly, you know, I'll just be completely honest, because I don't really study politics that much. The only reason I even got involved with the X-Files is because of so much bullshit going on. I've always been involved in conspiracy theories and knowing that the government's fucking, you know, full of shit. But it got to a point where I was like, okay, I need to fucking just like, for my own sanity, you get on the internet and just start speaking my mind. It's all starting to make sense now, and why they can't find out what happened and who did it and all that BS I saw on social media. Yeah, no, it's all there. They know. The thing is that, and if you listen to Candace and stuff like that, it was a highly orchestrated hit. And I mean, like I said, I don't even know what my brain doesn't even know what to believe about what happened to him. So we know that this is like a super big lie. There's lots of people involved in it. So then we have to ask ourselves, because they win, the deep state and these guys win when we accept certain narratives, and the narrative they want us to accept is always the obvious one that you would take for granted, that they push at the very beginning. For example, is Charlie Kirk really even dead? Okay. And I know that sounds crazy, but just think about it. If everybody is in on this, you have to ask yourself, was he in on it too? You can ask, why would they do this another time? Who fucking knows why they're doing this for the AI social credit score digital, ID system that's coming? I don't fucking know. But one thing's for sure, we know they're fucking lying about a bunch of shit. And so at what level of a psyop or conspiracy or fuckery or whatever you want to call this was Charlie Kirk involved in it? Did he fake his own death? It's a possibility. I'm not saying that he did. I'm not asking anybody else to believe that, but it's a possibility. And at this point, who fucking cares? Who cares if he's dead or alive? We'll never see him again. He's in the witness protection program, or he's possibly buried or not buried. They don't even know where his fucking body's at right now, which is really fucking strange. Her at the coffin blows my mind. Yeah, it's all very weird. And there's just so many, we could just spend hours talking about and playing videos about some of the weirdest shit that happened in the seconds after Charlie was shot. It just goes on and on and on. Well, no, it's nobody does, Stephen. It's a very personal, private thing. We all know that. It's not something that you put on social media, And it's not just that. It's just her reaction, the way she says it. She's trying to be all holier than thou. Oh, baby, all quiet. And, it's just it's so fake. It's as bad as her acting on her fucking Bachelorette and knowing she's going to win Miss Arizona before they announce it. Did you say they don't even know where he's buried? Yeah, they don't. Let me ask ChatGPT. What cemetery is Charlie Kirk buried at? The cemetery has not been made public. Multiple news outlets note that Charlie Kirk's burial site has not been disclosed by his family or Turning Point USA, specifically to keep in private and avoid harassment or vandalism. So, no, what happened was on day 2, because here's the thing. Charlie Kirk was shot. They rendered zero medical aid to him. The one guy lies and says that he stuck his hand into the neck of Charlie Kirk. We watched that video. The head of security said that he wasn't even the first one to Charlie's body. There was at least 2 other people that were down there. And somehow this is the guy that decides to stick his hand in Charlie's neck to stop the bleeding. Although we have him on video standing back up. So that means that what he's saying is true, he put his hand in the wound and took it back out. Okay. And so they did nothing to treat him. You have a neck injury, obviously. And so what they didn't get no neck board or nothing. They took like 5 people and just everybody just grabs an arm, and they put him into an SUV, not an ambulance. And then they lie, and they took him to a level 3 hospital instead of the trauma hospital that would be more equipped to deal with this type of thing. And he says it's because it was another 7 minutes away to the trauma level 5 hospital, which is a lie. They literally have to pass that hospital to get to the level 3 hospital. We could go on and on and on and on and on about lying about the drones. Everything they're saying is a fucking lie. I have the video of the shooting, but I don't want to go back and look at it or see if it was edited. Yeah, no, we're all over that, Sweet Tea. You know, so I don't play it either. I don't even want to hear the crack anymore. I'm done with it. You know, I don't need to see it anymore because I know. And what I believe is that if we go back and watch it, we're going to see edited video. You know, I really believe that. But the trauma is still going to be there. I don't know. I personally don't want to keep watching it either. I had it, Sweet Tea, but it got deleted. Who videos today? And it, yeah, we already did that one. Did you say they don't even know? Yeah, I did that. Erica Kirk went on TV saying it's the one thing she wants to keep private for her family, where his body is at. She said this last night. Okay. Yep. And, you know, which is fine. But again, you know, this is like, it was a public murder, assassination, whatever you want to call it. There should have been an autopsy, right? There should have been a detailed autopsy, but yet they didn't do an autopsy. They took the body on a plane. J.D. Vance, our vice president, which is really fucking weird. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to make of it. We'll move on to the next one. Here is Tucker. Let's listen to him real quick.
In the 3 months since Charlie Kirk was murdered, I've really been on the murder investigation in public, and it's not because I don't care. Of course, I love Charlie and knew him well since he was a teenager. But I haven't said anything about it. I really tried not to say anything about it. First, because I don't really know anything that everyone else doesn't know. I've asked around, but of course, how do you know what the truth is? But the other reason I haven't said anything is because I know personally a number of the people involved in what's now become a very large story. I know them really well. And I really think a lot of all of them on every side. Candace Owens, I've known a long time. I love Candace Owens. Blake Neff at TPUSA once worked for me at a couple of different places, and I love Blake Neff. Erica Kirk, I've known since she was dating Charlie Kirk, and I love Erica Kirk. And I think these are all really, really decent people. And so it's been my desire for 3 months not to get involved in any of this. And in general, to think to myself, anybody who is earnestly searching for the truth, whether they're right or wrong, but as long as by a desire to find out what happened and therefore honor Charlie's memory by getting to justice, anyone who's doing that, I'm not going to criticize. Again, no matter what track they're on, lots of us, and this has certainly happened to me, have good moments, but good motives, but wind up in the wrong place. But it's a sincere mistake. So that definitely happens. I have done that, and so I've just wanted to stay out. And then the other day, I had like a 3-hour conversation with Theo Vaughn, and it was not about Charlie Kirk or anything related to it, but that topic came up. And I said, in effect, I don't trust the FBI. And that gave some people the impression that I was, accusing them of being involved in Charlie's assassination. And of course, I wasn't. And I certainly didn't mean to. But it gives me the chance now to say what I think, which is that we should not necessarily trust the FBI. And by the way, why would we? It's not an attack on, the political leadership of it. I've known Dan Bongino, for example, for a long time, and like Dan, and he would ever be involved in intentionally covering up a murder of somebody. I don't believe that. But Dan Bongino and Kash Patel, for that matter, are at the top of the org chart, but this is a huge organization, and parts of it act independently from leadership. That's the nature of bureaucracy. So saying, well, I like Dan Bongino and don't think he would do something wrong on purpose, which is how I feel, doesn't mean that I trust the FBI or have to trust the FBI. And again, why would I? If there's one lesson of the last election, the 2024 election, it's that a lot of our biggest systems, our biggest institutions have rot in them, and that needs to be reformed. And as if we needed more proof of it, we'd learned what a lot of us suspected for years, that January 6th was in effect a setup, and the FBI was key to that setup. And it's still not clear that everyone involved in that setup at the FBI has been fired or punished for that. So no person, no American is under some moral obligation to believe everything the government tells you, particularly institutions or agencies that have a long documented, factually documented track record of committing crimes, participating illegally in our political system, for example, as the FBI has done, manufacturing crimes, setting people up, distorting justice. That's the opposite of their job, of course, which is to get to justice through facts and then to tell the rest of us how they arrived at this conclusion, to prove to the rest of us that the right people are being punished. So we're not under any obligation. Of course, we shouldn't invent theories to discredit the FBI, but it's not enough to have government officials tell us, well, this is the truth. We have a right, probably an obligation, to say, well, can you prove it? And if you can't, I don't have to believe you. So if there's one thing that bothers me above all about the investigation into Charlie Kirk, is that is getting lost. As people argue over what happened, we are potentially letting our largest federal law enforcement agency off the hook. It is the job of the FBI to find out what happened. The rest of us, not hide behind, well, it's national security, confidential sources. No, tell us what happened. Show us what happened. Convince us what happened. That's your job. And we shouldn't accept anything less. And by the way, when we do accept something less, then, new explanations fill the vacuum left by the FBI, which we pay to explain to us what happened. And so I'm going to really do my best not to talk about things I don't understand, state things as though I know them when I don't know them. I'm going to do my best to stay out of it because I love Charlie and I want justice to be done in this case. But the rest of us should remain skeptical. We have a duty to remain skeptical, and we should not be ashamed of our skepticism. Thanks.
Well said, Tucker. I mean, we should not necessarily trust the FBI. You think? And if you want more of, that Theo Vaughn, Tucker Carlson interview was awesome. I didn't watch the whole thing. It's like 3 hours long, but it was very good. Sven, good morning, sir. Good to see you. It's half past noon here. Oh, nice. Yeah, we all got different time zones. So yeah, that was Tucker. We watched that. This guy has a hot take on Erica Kirk.
All right, so uncomfortable discussion we're about to have.
Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this.
That's a great point. Where's the FBI in this case? Well, the FBI is so good at their job.
Director Bongino arrived on the scene at approximately 5:30 p.m. on 9/11. The governor led a press conference last night at approximately 8 p.m., where at my direction, the FBI released a never-before-seen video of the suspect. We also released new images to the public of the suspect. And just last night, the suspect was taken into custody at 10 p.m. local time. In less than 36 hours, 33 to be precise, thanks to the full weight of the federal government and leading out with the partners here in the state of Utah and Governor Cox, the suspect was apprehended in a historic time period.
So there's the FBI in historic fashion, less than 36 hours, 33 hours to be precise. They solved the whole fucking thing. And we all know 33 is a Freemason number, 33 degrees in the Freemason hierarchy. Erica Kirk's wearing the big Freemason rings, openly displays it. I mean, this is our FBI. This guy is a fucking con job. This guy is a fucking blow job. Blow job Betty.
No.
I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed?
So do we get to have an opinion? And if we have a different opinion, it'll seem like we're attacking a widow. Okay, so someone would ask, hey, Eric, what do you specifically mean?
Show family, when you go after the people that I love and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode.
So this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean on their webpage. And here's some winter options of the shirt he was murdered in, just in case you get cold this season. This right here is 4 days after, 4 days after the death of her husband, sends this out asking for up to $100,000. And never mind this shady case, the dozens and dozens of things that aren't adding up, like the bullet, like the 30-06 magically stopping in the Superman neck at a 90-degree angle down into the body. This kind of stuff, blaming people for making money and getting attention and selling books. I don't like it at all. I don't like it. I think there should have been an interim president and a healing process before you took the stage, Erica. So here's the deal, Erica. Most of us, we just want to know the truth. That's it. And I believe Candace falls into this category. Hater, lover, whatever. She's trying to get down to the bottom of who killed you.
And, Candace made a good point, too, because they made Erica Kirk the CEO of Turning Point after Charlie was shot. So you don't get to sit there and, emotionally, blackmail people and, whatever type psychology bullshit she's trying to use. You have questions that you have to answer as the CEO. So either you want to be a grieving widow or you want to be the CEO. Which one is it, And in between, she's posting mannequin hands. It's just all very strange. This is her with Barry Weiss. Barry Weiss is the Jewish Zionist that now runs CBS News. Because, you know, the whole CBS network is owned by, what's his name? Larry Ellison, and his son owns Paramount Plus. So the Jews have taken over. They already own the media, but they really own it now. But let's listen to this. I mean, to listen to Barry Weiss, this lady is just a fucking horrible piece of garbage. Just a straight liar and a gaslighter. She's such a gaslighter. She even has to speak for Erica. She sets the narrative for her. These people are just so fucking weird, man.
Erica, one of the most alarming things about Charlie's murder was the way that some people in this country reacted to it.
Yeah.
And not just online. This was an idea that you encountered a lot. And the idea was this. They kind of justified it. They basically said that because Charlie said or believed things that they believed were controversial or even hateful, that he somehow had it coming. What do you say to people who justified his death?
You're sick. He's a human being.
Jesus, look at those eyes. Did you guys see her eyes? Oh my God.
He's a human being.
Whoa. Good God. Is that Neuralink or contacts, or is she a lizard people? My God.
You think he deserved that? Tell that to my 3-year-old daughter. Excuse me.
What do you keep looking up and down?
You want to watch? And high res.
You know what's crazy? Is the one time you actually see tears welling up in her eyes, there's no tissue. She took a tissue to her face 10,000 times in the last 3 months. Literally 10,000 times. Where's the tissue at now? This is the only time I've ever, they're not dripping down her face. It's the first time I've ever seen tears in her eyes, and there's no tissue. Where's the fucking tissue? I don't get it.
The video of my husband being murdered and laugh and say he deserves it. There's something very...
There is tears coming down, and there's no tissue.
Very sick in your soul, and I pray that God saves you. I pray, because that is what is so wrong. The internet in this world has dehumanized us.
The one time you see tears is because she's upset about why? Why is she upset in this video?
Erica, one of the most alarming things about Charlie's murder was the way that some people in this country reacted to it.
Yeah.
And not just online. This was an idea that you encountered a lot. And the idea was this. They kind of justified it. They basically said that because...
Okay. Well, let's move on. Here is her talking.
The depth and level of the theology in here is unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's
he really
unbelievable.
I'm telling you, resting for Charlie took him to the next level.
Hold on. Let me read the chat real quick. Sorry. Wait a minute. Did they ever catch the guy, or did they have the wrong suspect? I'm so out of the news. If we're talking about, the shooter for this case that got Charlie, they have a guy in custody. His name's Steven Tyler, and he is allegedly has a boyfriend named Lance Twiggs, who is a furry tranny person who dresses up like a cat, who disappeared, who nobody can find. He's gone. Okay. And Tyler Robinson, they first said that the parents turned him in, but that's not true. it was like some law enforcement person called and convinced them to turn Tyler Robinson in. Otherwise, you know, he might get shot or something if they had to come get him. So we don't know the whole story to that. We've never been able to talk to Tyler. No one's seen Tyler. We don't know nothing about Tyler, if he's even a real person. And are they even going to have a trial? Because the judge put a gag order over like 3,000 people, over all the people that were there at the stadium when it happened at the UVU. So no, he's a patsy. We don't even know if he's a real person. They'll end up Jeffrey Epsteining him in jail. There will be no trial. And that will be that. That's just my prediction. Just going to say the eyes tell something for sure. Yeah, she's a piece of work. Definitely a bad actress. I think she can be a good actress when she wants to be, though.
And here's what he said. To stop utterly, decisively, rhythmically is perhaps the most radical command God ever gave humanity.
I'm going to rewind this one again. So this is allegedly what Charlie wrote in his last book. And it's very telling to, Erica Kirk walks around with that book. I don't think she even knows what's in that book. You know, this is her husband allegedly speaking that he's reading. And I don't think she even knows what's about to be said. She doesn't know what's in that book. The only thing that she knows what's in that book is the talking point she was given.
The depth and level of the theology in here is unbelievable.
Yeah,
it's
he really
unbelievable.
I'm telling you, resting for Charlie took him to the next level. And here's what he said. To stop utterly, decisively, rhythmically is perhaps the most radical command God ever gave humanity. In a world governed by unrelenting drive, by the mantras of faster, harder, and more, the divine voice says something astonishing. Stop. In his name, cease. Cease striving, cease earning, cease proving, cease buying and selling and producing. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine imperative. What did you notice when Charlie really put this into practice? Because I have my own stories, but what did you see in Charlie?
He was already an amazing husband to me, but our love for one another just amplified. Him and his role as a father amplified. He was so intentional with his time to begin with. I mean, he had it down to a millisecond. You guys know that. But Charlie was so good about making sure that his priorities remained his priorities. And even just hearing you read those words, Andrew, like, I have to tell you, like, I hear my husband's voice and spirit so much in this book. Like I said this morning when we were having an interview earlier about this, he feels so alive with me still when I read these pages, because I feel like he's addressing it to me personally. And again, he made sure that when he took the time to rest and go for a hike or just be able to show the world, the rest of the world, yes, I'm Charlie Kirk. Yes, I have these.
So, yeah. D-Rest, what's going down? Geez, you crazy psychic. You're always ahead of the curve. That's funny. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Maybe a good actress. Yeah. The thing is that good or bad, they're not selling $90 million worth of t-shirts. You know, they're being funded by billionaires, and they're trying to hijack religion in this country, and they're trying to, I don't know exactly how it's all going to play out, but they're trying to push the narrative that, even Mike Huckabee said this. He says that Christians have a moral obligation to Jews. That, we're supposed to worship the Jews. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't exist. When did all this shit start fucking taking place in this country? It's just all overnight, First it was the tranny movement, and now it's the fucking, we got to worship fucking Judaism or whatever the fuck it is. I heard this thing that they're doing this to try to turn people anti-Semitic. And I think that's really, that makes a lot of sense. You know, none of us are anti-Semitic. We don't have anything against Judaism or whatever you call it, Judaism. You know, against Jewish people. The only thing I have a problem with is you telling me what to fucking believe. No one's going to tell me to believe what to believe. Shit, I already know what I believe, and no amount of psyops and no amount of lies are going to steer me to believe that a 30-06 is going to be stopped by somebody because he ate so much spinach, and that bullets do weird things and this, that, and the other. It ain't happening. I believe reality. I believe in physics and science, and, you know, we call balls and strikes over here. We're not buying their bullshit. They can say whatever they want. I'm just not buying it. It seems like it'll probably never play out. It's a good point, D-Rest. It may not. That they're very good at doing that. You know, all they have to do is start a new war or a new pandemic or, you know, something like that. And we won't have time in the day to worry about this if we're all sick and coughing and, you know, or, you know, you're definitely right about that. You know, well, it is going to play out, but it won't play out to our satisfaction, I think is what you mean. And I think we can all agree on that. You know, that the way this is going to play out is not going to play out the way that it should. It's going to play out like JFK did, or one of the, you know, those scenarios, 9/11. I have a Jewish guy who owes me money from betting, and I have to give him time because he went overboard. Well, we've all done that, right? We've all done that. You know, that's funny. That is freaking hilarious, actually. I believe in myself and my family. 100%, Mooch. That's all, you know, that's the most important things, right? You know, I love the Ferris Bueller movie when, you know, Matthew Broderick is in the shower and he says, he's quoting John Lennon, "I don't believe in the Beatles. I just believe in me." And it's so true. You know, at the end of the day, we all walk alone. And yeah, there, you know, I don't know who, Joey Diaz or somebody fucking odd said something that I liked where there's only certain things in life that you have to get right. You know, like a few major things. You don't have to get everything right. There's just a few of the major things that you got to get right and your life can be good. You know what I mean? And so if you have your finances and your family in order, then, you know, and I think that just comes down to just being a good person and living within your means. Right. And part of it is like a lot of people get successful and then they take advantage of that, or they take it for granted. They expect the success to continue. You know how we got on that, but yeah, good quote, Magooch. So true. You know, you can't make excuses for that kind of stuff, right? I mean, this kind of stuff here, you know, this is for, you know, this did not affect family life and business. And, you know, it definitely can, though. It definitely can and definitely does, right? I mean, I think this is probably a little too complex for the masses to argue with their family about, because it's a little too hard to follow. It's not as easy as to follow, well, Trump said this or Trump's going to do that. You know what I mean? Because people will literally quit talking to their family over politics. I think this case is a little too complicated for most. I mean, even for us, you know, like it takes a second to get dialed in on it. You know, you basically have to consciously tell yourself, okay, I'm going to invest a little bit of my mind into what's going on here. People keep talking about Charlie Kirk and this thing, you know, not sounding right. And then once you decide that you're going to involve yourself in it, you can pretty easily see what's going on, you know, and you may not even know everything. But it's one of those things where, you know, a normal person is not really going to dive into this. Like, why would you? You know what I mean? Like, most people aren't conspiracy theorists or have even the time of day for this kind of stuff. But you know who does? Is Michael Franchise. For whatever reason, Michael Franchise wants to keep showing up commenting about Candace. And it's the dumbest thing ever. First, he wanted to say he couldn't believe that her husband would allow her to make a fool out of herself and ruin her podcast. Then he comes on dressed up like Justin Timberlake from NSYNC, back in the NSYNC days, talking about Turning Point said they wanted to meet her on the 15th and now she's backing out and blah, 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 blah. And now he's got some other video. I don't know what it is. I bookmarked it. Donna's doing it. Good morning. Hello, hello. Hope you're doing well. So let's go ahead and play the Michael Franchise without further ado. And we'll go back to whatever else I had. Here we go. There's our guy. There's our guy looking fly. You're better off with the glasses on. You got the lighting right this time, Michael, because the last video you did, you look a little sickly. And in this video, you look like you got a big forehead for some reason. Looks like you're so mad your forehead's bulging out of the side of your haircut there.
Candace Owens, now we're going to find out what your true motivation is with all this Charlie Kirk, TPUSA conspiracy speculation you've been putting out there for the past several months since Charlie's tragic murder. You said that if Erica Kirk told you to stop, that you would stop. Well, this morning, very clearly, on Fox News' Outnumbered, she did just that. Now, she didn't mention your name. She has too much class for that. But she said those people, or that person who's making hundreds of thousands of dollars on putting out all this speculation about my husband and about TPUSA, it needs to stop. Contrary to what you've been putting out there, that you're the only person that Charlie really believed would ever get to the truth. That's not true. She said straight out, she and TPUSA have been working with the authorities, that no stone is being left unturned to find out what really happened here. She said, you don't know what's really going on behind the scenes. You have no clue. And we all know that. You're just putting all this stuff out there because you're making money on it. She said it. She knows it. Well, let's see if you're a person of your word. She's getting death threats. And let me tell you something, Candace. If you really, really cared about her and finding the truth, instead of disrespecting this woman, why didn't you go to her early on and say, listen, I have a big platform. I can help you. If you believe something else is going on here, let me help you. Instead of disrespecting her and everybody else and doing what you're doing. And we all know why. We all know why, Candace. You're not fooling anybody. So why don't you just leave it alone, keep your word, and go after, Trump, and go after evangelical Christians and Protestants and the Macrons and Israel and everybody else that you're going after. Go after all of them and leave this woman and Charlie's legacy alone. Why don't you be a person of your word? And let's see if you're going to do that now. You said it. The same way you said you'd meet TPUSA anytime, any place, anywhere, but that's changed. Let's see if you can keep your word this one time. Just leave the woman alone and let her do what she's supposed to do for her husband and her family. Let's see what happens at this point.
I am just speechless. Why is it that former mobsters and these people that, these influencers that were on the Capitol building, have such a problem with Candace Owens? And, they're speaking about this like it's their job. Good old Michael Franchise.
If you tune into the Fox News channel, which I don't know why you would, but if you do, it's the Erica Kirk Show. And a big part of this media blitz is, of course, selling this book called Stop in the Name of God. Now, we're told that Charlie Kirk wrote this book and that these are his final words. We have absolutely no way of really knowing that, however. The chances are he didn't actually even write this book. But it's being sold as his work, and it's being used, of course, not to promote Christianity as the name when written by a Christian may suggest, but instead to promote Judaism. Not just to promote Israel, to promote Judaism, the Jewish lifestyle, and the Jewish tradition of Shabbat, where on Friday night to Saturday night, Jews do even less than they usually do. For example, they don't carry things, they don't turn on light switches, they don't rip toilet paper. They post a lot of videos online about all the different ways that they think that they're tricking God so they can wipe their butts on Saturday without ripping paper. And if that doesn't work, they'll just hire a Shabbos goy to do it for them. Seriously, that's where the term comes from. Shabbos goys are Gentiles who do the chores of the Jew on Shabbat. And in his death, with the release of this book, Charlie Kirk is being memorialized as the ultimate Shabbos goy. According to his book, he wasn't just doing chores for the Jews on the weekend. He was following their rules. He was submitting to their Noahide lifestyle. And that's what this book is telling us. And that's really convenient because Charlie Kirk isn't here to say otherwise. And all we have now is the word of Turning Point USA and Erica Kirk, a group of people who, to put it lightly, are less than trustworthy. But Erica Kirk is out here selling this book, and so are people like Blake Neff and Andrew Kovic. They're going on TV on Charlie's old show in his chair behind his microphone, and they're telling the world that Charlie Kirk, who shouted his Christian faith from the rooftops, lived some kind of a Jewish lifestyle.
Exactly. And, you know, it's well documented that, you know, he went on PBD and said that they live streamed the genocide of the Palestinians. It is well documented that he was, they lost a Jewish donor. He was turning away from Israel. They even had that meeting in the Hamptons, that intervention where they were screaming at him. And he put out text messages saying, or he even told Megyn Kelly that I will not be morally blackmailed. Let's play that video real quick.
I see what's happening, and it's my job to comment honestly on it. But I am sick of being lectured on, like, you have to see it exactly as we see it and support everything, or you're against us.
So this is so important, Megyn. And again, you cannot say everyone in the pro-Israel, and I don't say it, acts that way. But I got
Agreed.
texts about you, Megyn, saying, why is Megyn like doing the bidding of Hamas? I was like, what are you talking about? Megyn's the best. Like, what? Like, she's amazing. And I said, why are you texting me about Megyn? And I at that point, and they don't understand. You and I, Megyn, and Tucker is in the same category, and they've tried to go after Tucker.
Yeah.
Is that the more you attack our moral character, the more we're going to double down in a direction. Because 100%. Screw you, I don't do it that way, okay?
Right.
Like tell me I'm wrong. Cool. Tell me if I got my facts wrong. By the way, on the Epstein thing, Naftali Bennett says he wasn't an Epstein agent. We have to be pursuers of truth. They've denied it. Fine. Let's keep digging. Okay, fine. But the thing that I think is being lost is, like, on some part of the population, you can scold them into silence, right? But if I have any deviation of a purity test, any deviation whatsoever, such as hosting a focus group, right, Megyn, with a bunch of our students that went viral, having Dave Smith or Tucker at my event, it is all of a sudden, oh, Charlie is he's no longer with us and all that. I said, wait a second, what do you mean? What does with us mean exactly, right? I'm an American, okay? Like, I represent this country, and I don't even understand that paradigm. But Megyn, I think you would agree with this. I want to make sure we really zero in on this. Personality types like you, myself, and Tucker, the more that you guys privately and publicly call our character into question, which is not isolated, right? Megyn, it would be one thing if it was one text or two texts. It is dozens of texts.
Yes.
Then we start to say, hold the boat here. And to be fair, some of my really good Jewish friends are like, that's not all of us, it's all, but these are leaders too, though, right? These are stakeholders, right? And so, look, I'm afraid because, again, I want civilization to win. I want the West to win. I don't want the Islamo-fascist barbarians to storm the gates of Jerusalem. I want the holy sites protected. I believe in the Holy Land. I love that Jesus walked on water there and rose from the dead and preached in the Mount of Beatitudes. Like I feel the connection to Israel, but at the same time, simultaneously, when the hostile reaction is that now Meghan and Charlie are enemies,
right?
Boy, I'll tell you, like you're not gonna, I wouldn't say lose, but you will weaken and just basically deflate two of your strongest advocates if that continues.
Right. And to me, I laugh because it's like, I've been bullied by the best of them. The best.
So that'll just tell you right there. That's very telling about what Charlie's opinion was and what he was going through. And there's a lot more about that. There's all kinds of videos of him. So, the people now that are saying that Candace is evil is the very people he's talking about. One of them being his wife. So we're going to end the show, guys. It's 4:00 my time anyway. So it's a 2-hour show and we'll continue tomorrow. I was supposed to have chocolate delivered Tuesday. Then they said Wednesday. And now they said they actually just sent me. Let me see what it says. We've updated your delivery. Scheduled between 1 and 3:15 p.m. I shouldn't say that on the internet. So I'm just going to be waiting at my thing today. I needed that chocolate Tuesday. And now it's not going to come until this afternoon. So it is what it is. That's what I get for not having. I should always have backup chocolate. I just didn't expect to go through this much. But thank you guys for hanging out. Who knows what's going to happen with this whole the whole court thing. Will we ever get answers? I don't think we're ever going to get answers, but I think the important thing is to know that Turning Point USA is a fraud. Every last person in there is a fraud. They're trying to push a new narrative on us, and it's not for us. It's to make us second-class citizens. So nobody should be buying their book. Nobody should be buying their T-shirts. Nobody should be listening to anything they fucking said. Regardless, we don't even have to speculate whether they had anything to do with killing Charlie or not. We know they're full of shit. So I personally will not be buying their book, and I recommend nobody else do either. Let's move on with our life and not give Turning Point USA one penny, or more importantly, the most valuable thing that we could give them is our attention. And so let's not give them any attention. Musada. Yep. You know it, Donna. That Co-Train gave me that name. Co-Train's MIA the last couple days, I think. But anyways, thanks for hanging out. I'll see you guys over at the social club. Take care.